She stood in the middle of the crowded high school hallway, her pom-poms scattered on the ground, her face burning with shame, but not from weakness. From restraint. Because if there was one thing her dad taught her, besides how to break a wrist in under 3 seconds, it was how to hold back when you're capable of much more. This is the story of Riley Carter. And how the girl everyone underestimated became the girl they never saw coming. It started in sophomore year, just 2 weeks after Riley transferred to Ridgewood High. With her father deployed overseas and her mother working double shifts as a nurse, Riley had grown up bouncing between army bases, martial arts gyms, and quiet nights curled up with her dad's combat stories. She didn't dress flashy. She didn't walk with the same loud confidence as the other girls. But she had a fire behind her eyes and a silent grace that only came from training her entire life to protect, not to fight. And then, there was cheerleading. Riley didn't join the cheer squad to fit in. She joined because she missed rhythm, team energy, and the rush of the crowd under Friday night lights. She wanted something normal, something not soaked in the grit of war stories or survival drills. But Ridgewood High wasn't kind to outsiders. Especially not to girls like her. "You don't belong here." Those were the first words she heard from Brittany Hayes, the squad captain, on her very first day of practice. Brittany, rich, sharp-tongued, picture-perfect. Her dad owned a car dealership, her mom ran the PTA like it was a military operation. She didn't like competition, and she sure as hell didn't like Riley showing up and sticking a flawless double back handspring on her first try. From that day, Brittany made it her mission to turn the squad against Riley. She'd hide her shoes. Mess up her locker. Whisper cruel things loud enough for others to hear. Army brat. Probably learned to flip from dodging landmines. Bet she sleeps with a helmet on. It was supposed to be funny. The other girls laughed. Some nervously, some sincerely. Riley never reacted. Not once. She swallowed every insult, every shove, every humiliating prank. But she remembered. Every single one. One afternoon, just before regionals, things hit a breaking point. Riley was in the locker room alone when the door slammed shut behind her. 3 cheerleaders, Brittany and her 2 shadows, Lexi and Sienna, blocked the exit. "You think you're better than us?" Brittany sneered. "I don't," Riley said calmly, tying her shoelace. "But I don't need to tear others down to feel strong." Wrong answer. Lexi shoved her into a row of lockers. Hard. Sienna threw her pom-poms into the trash. And Brittany stepped forward, finger jabbing into Riley's chest. "This is my squad. You either know your place, or we'll remind you of it." For a moment, Riley just stared. She could feel the ache in her shoulder. The burn in her chest. The sting in her pride. And then, as if flicking a switch, she moved. Brittany didn't even see it coming. Riley sidestepped, grabbed her wrist, and gently twisted, not enough to break it, but enough to make her yelp and drop to her knees. Lexi lunged forward, fists raised. Riley ducked. Pivoted. Swept her leg. Lexi hit the ground with a thud, winded. Sienna backed up, palms raised. "Whoa, we were just playing." Riley didn't move. She just stood there, eyes calm, breath steady. Playtime's over. The door swung open. Coach Daniels walked in, eyes wide, stunned by the scene. Brittany started to cry. Fake tears. "She attacked us." But Coach wasn't stupid. He looked at Riley. At the bruises she never reported. At the fear in the other girl's eyes, not fear of Riley, but fear of being exposed. He nodded once. "You okay?" he asked her. She nodded. "You 3, he barked at the others. "My office." Now. What followed was a full investigation. Students came forward. Text messages, photos, anonymous reports, it all came pouring out. Brittany was suspended. Lexi and Sienna were benched for the rest of the season. And Riley? She became co-captain. But she didn't take a victory lap. She didn't gloat. She didn't fight for revenge. Instead, she used her role to change everything. She brought new routines that focused on unity. She created mentorship for freshmen. She invited those who had once laughed at her to train together, and many apologized. And when her dad finally returned from deployment, he sat in the stands during the championship meet, eyes glassy with pride, as Riley led the squad to a flawless, first-place finish. After the trophy was raised, and the crowd roared, her dad pulled her into a hug. "You remembered what I taught you," he whispered. She smiled. "I remembered everything, Dad. But I finally got to use it my way." Riley's story didn't just silence her bullies. It inspired a school. It reminded everyone that strength isn't about fists or fear. It's about knowing who you are, and standing tall anyway. Because real power, it's not in dropping your enemies. It's in rising, no matter how many times they try to knock you down.